This vid is all about aesthetics and exactly what I've done over 12 years of training to look the way that I do now. But first, I'm gonna define what aesthetics means to me, and then I'm gonna go into detail of my entire weekly split, exactly what exercises I recommend for each muscle group. Aesthetics to me means basically like a physique that the general public would want to attain. So not like an open bodybuilder that competes in the Olympia, more like men's physique beach bod with, small waist, well-developed abs, wide shoulders, and a really good taper. Number one thing I think that is essential for aesthetics is you have to be lean. I don't think I've ever seen an aesthetic physique that's like 20% body fat. Once you get down to like 10% body fat, I think that's really when everything starts to show through. Even your face, your facial structure. So not only as you get leaner is your waist gonna get smaller and your taper is gonna improve, you're gonna get leaner, more vascular, but your face structure is also gonna get better because your jawline is gonna go through more as well. So the things that are genetic are like bone structure and muscle insertions. So you can only do so much with what you have, but you can do a lot if you actually put in the work consistently over years and years of training. So don't ever let genetics become an excuse to not train hard. Everybody, in my opinion, can be aesthetic. Some could be easier than others. Naturally, I have a smaller waist. I don't carry much body fat in my midsection. Genetically, I just have pretty good body fat distribution. So that definitely plays a huge role. But I'm sure if you experiment with just going on a really good cut and getting as lean as you can, maybe at least reach around 10 to 12% body fat, you're gonna notice a huge difference overall with how you look and how you feel. Right now myself, I think I'm around 7% body fat. But I'm just really lucky in that case. That's also another genetic thing. I can maintain a low body fat percentage easily year round. So some of you may have to suffer more than others, depending on your fat cell count and all that stuff that you're born with, but it's gonna be worth it no matter what. So yeah, number one, the biggest, most important thing for aesthetics is you just need to be lean, and that comes down to diet. This video is gonna be about training mostly, so I'm gonna make a video about diet, like a full day of eating next. If this video gets really good engagement and a good amount of likes and views, I will definitely make a video all about the diet. Now with the training, I'm gonna go through my 6-day split. First, each day, what muscle group I train, and then I'm gonna go into each exercise that I recommend for each day. So for Monday, it is chest and abs. Tuesday is back and biceps. Wednesday is legs quad focused. Thursday is shoulders and abs. Friday is legs hamstring focused. And then Saturday is biceps and triceps. And then Sunday is a rest day. So 6 days of training and then 1 rest day. I'm sure a lot of you are gonna think this split is kind of weird, but it's kind of what I found to be the most enjoyable thing for me to stay consistent for so long. So it really just comes down to what you enjoy the most. Like you can do a PPL split, you can do a bro split, you can do an Arnold split. This one is kind of like a mix of bro split and PPL. And then I even dedicate an entire day to just shoulders and then a little bit of abs as well. So the muscle groups I train twice a week are usually the smaller muscle groups like biceps and triceps and abs. And then I train chest and back just once per week. For some reason for me, my chest gets really, really sore. I think it's because I have really high intensity. I need basically a week to recover before I can train it again. But the smaller muscle groups like my biceps, triceps, and my abs, they recover very quickly. This split is pretty good for aesthetics because for Thursday, for example, I dedicate an entire day just for shoulders because I think shoulders are actually the most important muscle group in terms of aesthetics. The wider shoulders you have, the more round they look. It gives off the illusion of a smaller waist and a wider upper body to help with that taper. So shoulders are essential for an aesthetic physique. Now I'm gonna go into each specific day and break down each workout for basically every exercise that I recommend for every muscle group. So I'll show also a video example going in front of you while I talk in the background of the form that I have and an explanation of why I like that exercise. The number one chest exercise that I like is an incline press, like incline Smith machine press or an incline bench press. My absolute favorite would be an incline Smith machine because you do get that control and that stability so you can focus 100% on the chest muscle. Also with the Smith machine, it's a little bit safer than an incline bench because with the incline bench you need a spot and it can fall on your chest. If you need a bail on a Smith machine, you just rotate the bar and it'll catch itself on the rung. So I do like Smith machine a lot for a ton of my movements. The second chest exercise I recommend would be a cable fly. And I like to do a cable fly with my chest facing downward. And that just gives me more control, and I can go a lot heavier, because when I have the cables on the side and I take steps forward, once I get to a certain weight, it just kind of pulls me back and I can't really focus on the exercise itself. So I do almost kind of like a dip with the cable fly. Chest exercise number 3 that I recommend would be a dip, preferably a weighted dip if you can. Dips are just fantastic for the stretch, and also I think it's important to be able to carry your own body weight. Body weight exercises in terms of weighted dips, weighted pull-ups, all those things are a staple in all of my workouts. Chest exercise number 3 would be a deficit push-up, which is a fantastic finisher for a chest workout. Deficit push-up is really just going below parallel so you can get a bigger stretch than just a normal push-up. So yeah, those are all my favorite chest exercises. Now moving on to back. Number 1 back exercise would be a weighted pull-up. If you can't do weighted pull-ups, body weight is great, or even assisted pull-ups. Most gyms do have an assisted pull-up machine. But pull-ups, because I think it's just a really motivating exercise. It's just really fun to do. It's an intense movement that really pushes me to go beyond failure and have a lot of intensity. Next would be a row. For example, like a barbell row, I would prefer a Smith machine row, because as I said, with the chest press, it gives you that stability and you can focus 100% on the back. If you don't have a Smith machine, then I highly recommend a free weight barbell or even a dumbbell row, it's really good as well. Back exercise number 3, highly recommend any kind of pullover, preferably a cable pullover, but also even like a dumbbell pullover on like a decline bench where you go really slow on the eccentric and get a massive stretch is a fantastic back exercise, especially for the upper lat area over here. But cable pullover, I think, gets the entire lat really well. Favorite back exercise would be a cable row or a cable pull down, like a wide grip lat pull down, or like a single arm cable row. Moving on to all my favorite bicep movements. Incline curls, man. Incline curl like on a bench where you get the craziest stretch. You can do it with a dumbbell or a cable. I feel like a cable gives you an even better stretch. If you have the bench just at a slight incline, it is basically guaranteed to get your biceps really sore, because you get the most tension in the stretched part of the rep. And then exercise number 2 for biceps would be like a barbell curl. I like to do the curls with my hands a little bit in front of me, my elbows in front, to isolate the biceps a little bit better. You have to go a little bit lighter with the weight, but I think it's even better than just a normal standing barbell curl like that, because you can use a lot of traps and cheat it that way. Now for the shoulders, any kind of lateral raise, like a cable lateral raise would be my favorite one. Is really good for the lateral delt. It's hard to get the lateral delt with any other exercise than like any kind of lateral raise. So cable lateral raise, dumbbell lateral raise, those are all really good for the lateral delt. When I do cable lateral raise, I like to use some wrist cuffs, attach my wrist to the cable, so then that way I don't have to worry about grip or anything. I can isolate the shoulders really well. And an even better option for the cable lateral is a lying cable lateral raise. So you lie on a bench, you don't even have to worry about balance or standing up. You can focus 100% on the shoulder. I don't really do any exercises for the front delt, because the front delt gets hit a lot from any kind of pressing movement. So typically most people have overdeveloped front delts, but I train my rear delt basically as hard as I train my side delt, because the rear delt is essential for those 3D shoulders. So for rear delts, I like to do a reverse cable fly, a reverse pec deck, or a cable face pull. Now for the abs, I'm sure you guys are very curious what ab exercises I do. If I could only choose one ab exercise, it would be a dragon flag. But a lot of people can't do a dragon flag because it's pretty advanced, but there's a lot of dragon flag variation exercises you could do. For example, like an alternating leg dragon flag, or a bent knee dragon flag, or even a dragon flag negative. Those are all really good ways to do it. If you can't do any of those, you can just do a lying leg raise until you get stronger to move on to those other variations of dragon flags until you can do a full dragon flag. Exercise number 2 for abs would be a hanging leg raise. And if you can do it weighted, that's even better. Number 3 is a cable crunch, because it's really easy to progressively overload with those and get your abs stronger and stronger, because it's easy to increase weight on that. And number 4 would be a decline sit-up, and also make sure you increase the weight on that as well by holding the weight behind your head while you do the sit-up, and then increase the weight, throughout the weeks and months. Now for the legs, specifically for the quads, I got 3 exercises that are my go-to. Number 1 would be an elevated heel squat, whether it be elevated heel under a Smith machine or a free weight barbell. Elevated heel helps you get better range of motion in your quads, helps you go lower because you don't have to worry about ankle flexibility. So yeah, that's a really good one. Exercise number 2 for quads would be a sissy squat, and I like doing those on the Smith machine as well. Don't worry about your knees. If you don't have any pre-existing knee issues, this is actually going to help your knees become more resilient, and you're going to get stronger knees from doing sissy squats. So very important, very good exercise. Basically like a body weight quad extension. Speaking of quad extension, that would be the 3rd go-to exercise for quads. I like to do a single leg quad extension because that just really isolates the rectus femoris part of the quad, and make sure you find a good leg extension that goes all the way down and have a good slow eccentric. Now for the hamstring focused portion of the legs, I like to do any kind of RDL, Smith machine RDL, of course, barbell RDL, dumbbell RDL. I like to have my legs completely straight, basically my knees locked out, because for me, it helps me get a better stretch in my hamstrings and not worry about using any glute or anything like that to help me assist the weight up. A lot of people may not agree with that, but for me personally, I love to have my legs just straight on these. Exercise number 2, that is my absolute favorite for glutes, would be a walking lunge. If you don't have any room to do walking lunges in your gym, you can do a reverse lunge in a Smith machine or a free weight barbell. Walking lunges are my go-to to get my glutes. Basically, they get really sore anytime I do a walking lunge, so highly recommend those. If you have a barbell, I think that's better than dumbbell because you don't have to worry about holding on to the weight because grip can be a limiting factor. If your gym doesn't have enough room for a walking lunge, then you can do a reverse lunge in a squat rack. And then for calves, I like to do a standing calf raise on the machine, or you can do a single leg bodyweight calf raise holding a weight like a dumbbell in one hand, and those always get my calves really sore. And then finally for the triceps, it's always going to be a French press would be my go-to for triceps. A French press is a little different than a skull crusher. The French press is going to be behind your head completely, and you can do this with free weight like a dumbbell or a barbell, or you can do it with a cable, like lying on an incline bench with the cable. That's usually the only tricep exercise I need to do, but if I were to choose another one, it would be just a simple cable tricep push down, single arm or with 2 hands with a bunch of drop sets. So yeah, I hope that was a good breakdown and explanation of exactly what I've done and how I've trained to look the way that I do now. Of course, I think the most important thing is just training hard consistently for years and years, and you're gonna see a lot of progress. I would say this is one of the most requested videos. People really wanna know my split and exactly how I've trained to look how I do. So it's basically all of my last videos put into one. That would be this video. I just wanted to just break it down for you guys. So as usual, there's no fancy editing, no music. Next video is probably gonna be like a full day in the life of eating, exactly what I like to eat and what foods contribute to lean aesthetic physique as well. So if this video does well, I'll make that one really quickly and we'll get it out to you. So yeah, if you wanna support me, code JB10 for Gymshark. I've been wearing the Gymshark Old English joggers, and don't know if you can see this very well, but this is the zip up hoodie that goes with it. But anyway, code JB10 for Gymshark if you want to support me. We'll see you in the next one.